When we predict a possible end of a legacy automaker, it is usually because of their lack of interest in making electric cars. But in case of the General Motors, the opposite may just be true. If GM is ever to file for bankruptcy, I would be quick to point out that it was their first and only electric vehicle, the Chevy Bolt, and a few other unforgivably bad decisions that may be the cause of death. Let me tell you why GM may be in trouble, and most importantly, what can be done to right this ship. And we're gonna start right now. Welcome to E4 Electric. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. So let's talk about how the Chevy Bolt has gone from the technological pride of GM to an embarrassment and a potential fire hazard, not only to its owners, but to the entire brand. Now, remember, Bolt was a huge deal when it came out back in 2016. The only non-Tesla electric car with over 200 miles of range and for half the price. Now, unfortunately, it was designed to look like a compliance car. I know some people liked the way it looked, but it was not appealing to the masses. This is just not the way you win the hearts of people who are already skeptical about electric cars. On top of that, Chevy wasn't really behind the car. They weren't really advertising it. There weren't ads on TV or billboards. So it was kind of almost a hush-hush secret of a car that they were making that they were almost embarrassed of. It was a huge opportunity for Chevy to become the #2 electric car brand early, behind Tesla, and a better design and some advertising dollars behind it could have won many hearts, probably including mine. Now, before Bolt was even conceived, the Chevy Volt, a plug-in hybrid, came out in 2010, and it was a success. I have a Chevy Volt right now, and much like every single Volt owner I have ever met in person or online, I absolutely love it. It's pretty good looking for a compact sedan, it's cheap, and till this day has one of the longest ranges for a plug-in hybrid, with its second generation reaching over 50 electric miles. It can also fully operate in an electric mode, which is actually pretty rare for a plug-in hybrid. And if GM ever cared about the success of the Bolt should have been the electric version of the Volt. The Bolt did get a recent refresh, but even that was botched by the disinterested General Motors. Let me tell you what did go into the second generation Bolt. But before that, a quick reminder that this video is brought to you by the Climate Exchange. The Tesla raffle is back. You can win a Tesla of your choice, but only 5,000 tickets will be sold, so get yours using a link in the description of this video. And even if you don't win, the money will go towards a great environmental cause. And by NeoCharge, guess what? The 220 outlet that powers your dryer can now be split to also power your electric car with the help of NeoCharger's smart splitter, which will automatically switch back to your dryer while you're doing laundry. Get $50 off using the discount code in the description of this video. The second generation Bolt was very much highly anticipated, but once it finally came out, not much has changed. The look got upgraded and the EUV version was spun off, but it just felt like the new Bolt was redesigned by the original Prius designer. Only a few extra miles of range have been added to the new version, which was pretty disappointing. The biggest update that a lot of first generation owners were excited about were the new seats that were finally designed not to leave you with chronic back pain. And once again, I feel like GM is not behind this version of the Bolt either, because I don't see any advertising at all. I reached out to my Chevy representative and he was very cocky and, as a matter of fact, upset with me when I was calling them out on that. He said, listen, we're selling these better than ever, and honestly, that's not really saying much. I mean, you've sold 140,000 of them in 5 years. So saying that your sales don't suck as much now is not a good look. And then there was Super Cruise, GM's attempt at self-driving technology. It does have a pretty good face tracking technology. I couldn't fool it no matter what I did, but it is only engaged on limited stretches of freeways, and when it is active, it is a disaster. In about an hour of me trying to be friends with this thing, it almost killed me like 3 times by trying to run me into the neighboring cars, the freeway divider, and at one point, for some reason, it didn't see the car in front of us until very, very late, at which point it had to brake so hard it scared itself into calling its own SOS service. And that brings me to the latest and biggest Bolt disaster, the recent fires. I can't even call them recent, really, because this has been going on since last year. Now, Chevy didn't really take it seriously at first, but once they did, their fix was to limit charging and to tell owners to avoid parking in the garage. So the fix wasn't really a fix. But then more fires have followed, and finally after that, GM has agreed to take it seriously and have recalled all, and I mean all Chevy Bolts ever made, including the brand new ones sitting at the dealer lots. But because they still didn't know what caused the problem, they had to stop the production altogether. Now, replacing every single battery in every single Chevy Bolt is going to take a long time and almost $2 billion. But the worst part, that GM and its future and current battery cell provider LG Chem have not agreed on whose fault this was and who's going to pay for this. Now, even though the Chevy Bolt is really the only electric vehicle that GM has ever produced, they do have a few in the pipeline, but I'm not sure if they are good enough and fast enough to market to save the brand. All batteries will be made by the same battery cell provider LG Chem, and that partnership has gone from a big advantage for GM to a possible reason why people will stay away from them altogether. The next electric vehicle from GM will be the Hummer EV, which sold out in 10 minutes, which led everybody to believe that GM is not going to be making too many of them in the next year or so. And General Motors has picked LeBron James as the spokesperson for this model. And just in case if you're not aware, LeBron James is a pretty controversial figure. He has said many things that have upset people, especially in the last year, including myself, and I personally wouldn't buy a product that has his face on it. Now, Hummer EV, much like any other electric vehicle, maybe with an exception of Tesla, needs all the help it can get to get it out of the gate. So hiring a controversial figure to sell it is probably a bad idea. GM also has not announced the electric version of the pickup truck Silverado, while Rivian, Tesla, and most importantly Ford have all announced theirs and are moving towards production as we speak. Rivian this year, the other two next year. Well, can this be fixed? And if so, how? Well, I have a few ideas of my own, but if you have one as well, get that comment section busy. First of all, this comes down to leadership. The poor quality of products and a lack of vision falls on the leader of the company, and in this case, it's Mary Barra. Now, don't get me wrong, I think she's a very nice person. I enjoyed meeting her and talking to her, but the leadership is important, and she is just not the right leader for this company right now. Put in charge someone who believes and is passionate about electrification of the brand and has done it before. Maybe acquire another all-electric startup and put their CEO in charge. I personally would suggest Faraday Future and Karsten Breitfeld. Put out the fire. Give the Bolt owners the guarantee, the apology, and the perks they deserve. Make them feel like you know you've done them wrong and you want to make up for it. Discontinue the regular Bolt EV, keep the EUV, and make an all-electric third-generation Volt. Unveil and prioritize the production of the all-electric Silverado. It has to be better than Ford's, which you should be able to accomplish by simply getting it over the 300-mile range mark. And finally, start advertising your brand as electric, or at least advertise your electric options and the future. It's a shame that a brand that seemed only a few years ago that it was heading in the right direction of electrification is now a butt of many jokes and disappointments. I really do hope that things change, and change very soon. Don't forget to join me for my subscriber hangout live every Tuesday, sometimes Monday, so check the homepage and set the reminder. All right, looking forward to all of your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.